Hi YouTube, Darth here. Now I realize that I am not the best with keeping up with schedules for videos and coming out with content on a regular basis. And while the time that I have to do videos varies greatly from week to week, I can say that there has been a definitive reason for the last couple of weeks being spotty. And that really has been that I've just been playing way too much Battlefield. To put things in perspective, in about the last three and a half weeks, I've recorded at least 100 hours worth of footage, and I probably have only recorded about half of the games I played. Now I already have a full-time job, and playing Battlefield has been full-time pretty much on top of that. Now maybe you get caught in the same situation I do. I'll play a game, have a good game or a bad game, decide that I want to play another, and then I'll get caught in the streak of, oh, I can't end on a failure, or hey, I have a winning streak, I gotta keep this going. This has sort of been my experience over the last couple of weeks. I've actually been really enjoying the spring patch, aside from maybe the flashbangs. And when I sit down at night, I'm like, well, I'd like to make a video right now, but oh, Battlefield sounds really good. Let's play a game or two first. And then about 3 in the morning, I'm like, well, I'd done screwed up. Repeat this on a daily basis for about 3.5 weeks, and you see where this is going. Now before that, in June and May, life got busy, and I mentioned that on my channel, so that was expected. But what I didn't really expect is once I sat down and played Battlefield, how much into it I would get. And it pretty much took over my schedule, so much so that I've had to come up with a method to cut myself off. So now I'm going to play in batches of 3 rounds. Basically a best of 3 system. If I win 2 games, great, I stop. If I lose 2 games, well, that sucks, but I stop. If I lose 1 and then win 1, well, I finish out that 3rd game and see where it goes. And that gives me a little bit more impetus to try and win that 3rd game if I'm in a kind of a break-even sort of situation. At any rate, when I hit that cutoff point, I either stop playing or I go and start a video, which is why I have a video today. Also, something I'm chronically bad at while I'm recording all this footage is that I tend to over-record for a topic I want to talk about. For example, I have about 30 hours of footage to review for an upcoming battle plan, and I probably need way less than half that amount. So it's really easy for me to put off a video and instead record footage or just play the game, because I'm enjoying it. So what have I been doing as I've been playing the game so much? Well, in addition to recording footage for topics I want to talk about, I've been trying to focus up on infantry gameplay. With all the changes to attachments, I've been trying to figure out what combinations work best for me, try to read up on forums, and try to listen to some other YouTubers who may or may not know what they're talking about, to try to get a good idea of what's been going on. So I look at the data and then I try to play this out in game, because sometimes the numbers don't tell the whole story. A lot of it can come down to how you play the game and your individual skill level, so if something is best for you, you should probably be running that particular attachment. Take me for example, I happen to gravitate towards the heavy barrel and the ergo grip on the AN-94, even though I may not be the best combination for that gun, it worked for me. Be sure to let me know in the comments below how you feel about the changed up infantry gameplay in the spring patch. I've actually had a lot of time to play with it, and I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on the matter. So the other thing I've been doing to offset the time is playing in vehicles. Specifically, I've been spending a lot of time in jets, but generally when I want some zen time, I like to spend it in vehicles. Jets and armor are one of those things that I feel I've mastered to the point at which I have a pretty easy time dominating the battlefield in. Generally only when other very smart players emerge do I have any difficulty trying to clean up in a vehicle. Generally I can get 10 to 15 kills in a piece of armor or a jet before my comeuppance is had. And since both of these vehicles have a little bit more leeway, I don't have to necessarily be quite as careful as I do when I'm playing infantry. The other half of this is vehicles changed very little in the spring patch with the exception of the attack jet, so there really aren't a whole ton of surprises to be had. So they're pretty much a known quantity, and it's really the way I relax in Battlefield, is to play in a vehicle. And like I said, it's a pretty nice offset to the always on my toes infantry gameplay. One vehicle I've definitely had much easier time in since the spring patch has been the attack helicopter. I think that vehicle has finally turned a page, and if you haven't given it a shot in the spring patch, I highly recommend you do. But how do you zen in Battlefield 4? Do you go for a vehicle? Is there a particular map mode that you like? Let me know in the comments below. And then finally, the last thing I did is I went back and spent some quality time with Battlefield 3. Now, doing this kind of felt like easy mode. And in this clip I'm using the M4, and I gotta tell you, I did not recall how amazing the M4 and M16 were until I started using them again in Battlefield 3. It's really impressive how fast you can cut through a group of soldiers with these weapons in Battlefield 3. But at the same time, I feel like there's a good amount of familiarity with these maps, and just the layout of the maps feels honestly superior to a lot of Battlefield 4 setups. Now honestly, that could be a bias in me because boy do I love me some Grand Bazaar. And that's a niche I don't feel like Battlefield 4 has ever really scratched that well, is these middle and small size infantry based maps. particularly with respect to city maps. And I kinda wonder if Domination was meant to scratch that itch. Now, I'm not going to gush too much on Battlefield 3 at the expense of Battlefield 4. I think both games are fantastic in their own ways. And honestly, slipping between the two feels as seamless as remembering how to ride a bike. But don't expect too much Battlefield 3 content on me, as this was just for fun. But what have you folks been up to since the spring patch landed? Have you been playing a lot more Battlefield? Perhaps some other game? Let me know in the comments below. As for me, hopefully I have a few more videos coming up for you here in the next week or two, because I've finally cleared my schedule of Battlefield. And hopefully at the same time I'll clear out some of the 3 terabytes of footage that I have on my hard drive. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, YouTube. It finally got me.